That was good. Jim Schultz is very happy.
A regular meeting of the City Council held in Council Chamber on Thursday, October 8th, 2015, at 7:00 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on October 1st, 2015, at 3:14 p.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. Absent being none. Council President Sargent presided. Councilor Turio moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it, and matter carries. President Sargent requested that everyone please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilor Famico.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public testimony. First being Timothy Jenkins.
Good evening, everybody. Tim Jenkins, 18 Broad Street. Just wanted to speak quickly tonight about the proposal coming out of Committee of Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs regarding the parking spaces. And I tried to do a little homework on this. I've been involved with a jail solution for many years, and it was great to see the state transfer it to the SRA. The SRA then find a developer and have it developed. So we saved the buildings in general. They were all saved as a result of this. One of the conditions of the original project was that the public continue to be given access to the building, which is why we encouraged to have a restaurant there, because that allowed people to get in and out of the building and appreciate it. And we've had 2 restaurants in there so far. One of them, I understand, financially did not work. My understanding, although I don't know for a fact, is that the second one operated successfully but decided there was a better location for them over in Beverly, and my understanding there is that there isn't really, it's not a parking related issue. They hope to do business without allocated parking. It's nice to have parking nearby, no matter what it is. We all like to walk quickly. We have a lot of residences here. I believe the property currently is actually rental units about to be sold because they're coming out of a restriction for historic preservation tax credits, what have you. So they're likely to be sold. Always makes it more attractive if you have parking nearby. Great. What I'd like to see, if the committee decides, and this moves forward with 17 parking spaces, that we try to put in a parking area there that just doesn't look like your typical hot top, surrounded by a sea of parking meters. You can see it all over the world. We want to be green friendly. I don't understand. I would recommend that if we're going to put in parking there, that's the decision, that we try to put in green parking and preserve the look of that space as much as possible as if it's a green space. And that would probably also include having a kiosk that's fed as opposed to a bunch of meters surrounding it. And it would be lovely, and it's been discussed before, to actually have some recognition that this space is actually right near where Parker Brothers was, and there's really no recognition of that, and a very important part of the city's history. And the final point is, I'm not sure everyone's looked into this, but I believe the property is still part of the Howard Street burial ground, at least on the city's maps. So if it's going to be reviewed, I think it also should run by the Cemetery Commission. I may be wrong on this, but it should be looked into. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Next being Craig Fields.
Good evening. My name is Craig Fields. I'm a business agent with IBEW Local 2321, representing Verizon workers on the North Shore. I'm here today to speak to a resolution that is before you this evening, requesting that Verizon expand their file service within communities within the Salem area. The council, we're asking the council to join with the other cities and towns in support of this resolution before you tonight, which strongly urges the utility regulators of Massachusetts to insist that high-speed internet and cable services be included among providers' basic services, and work to ensure that Lowell residents, I'm sorry, not Lowell residents, but Salem residents have access to the newest and most efficient telecommunications technology available. I mentioned Lowell because that's one of the other cities in the Commonwealth right now that do not have access to Verizon's newest product. It's an engine for schools, for business, for technology, for consumers to be able to utilize the internet and all of these new telecommunication services that simply aren't available. In a city like this, it should be something that is just part of your basic service. The resolution accompanies and supports a call to Verizon's top executives with letters from mayors and city and town managers throughout the Commonwealth and across the East Coast. Salem's Mayor Driscoll has already endorsed these efforts. I'm sure it's not too much for Verizon to negotiate with the city a cable franchise agreement and make the Fios triple play available to everyone in Salem. It's tough to watch TV and hear on the TV and radio and reading in the papers all these Verizon advertisements and hear how great the service is, but we'll never know in communities that are surrounding Salem, where communities surrounding Salem all knew the benefits of Salem, such as Marblehead, Swampscott, Lynn, Nahant, Linfield, Danvers, Wenham, and Middleton. In closing, I believe this resolution is the first step in bringing vital cable and internet competition to the city and upgrading the telecommunication infrastructure and services that sustain jobs in our community and, just as importantly, help attract more high-tech sector business into Salem. Again, I'd like to thank Mayor Driscoll for supporting the cause with her letter to the top Verizon executives, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Fields.
Thank you.
Next being T.Z. Riley Goggin.
T.C. Riley Goggin, 9 Wisteria Street. I spoke before this group, License, Ordinance, and Legal Affairs the other evening pertaining to the parking in front of the jail as we had known it. And I also said that night that I felt that we were making room for cars and going over and above the people and what the people had spoken about in the past 5 or 6 years. 60 to 70 people attended meetings, not one, but many meetings. And they made it known that that green space is what they wanted there. I know that Tim Jenkins just spoke about the fact that it should be checked on whether or not it is still a portion of it, part of a cemetery. In the old maps that we see, many things have been overlooked. I would advise you to do that before you move forward with it. But the one thing that bothers me and some of the people that I talked to in the past few days, part of the 60 people that were at the meeting, I have contacted 37 of them. 37 of those people said, before anything was decided, that they should have been given a chance to have a public meeting once again. That they said that they did not hear about this from their counselor. Right now, I'm really asking you to think twice before you vote. First of all, you do not have a restaurant at the present time. You're making room for a restaurant, and you're making room for supposedly metered spaces to go into here. Metered spaces that they're talking about the fact that, or a kiosk. Now, which is it going to be? I don't know. I hope neither one of them. We have more than ample parking in the city if people would only look for it. 17 spaces, what difference is that going to make to a restaurant if they're going to survive? A restaurant, if it's really a good restaurant, if the prices are right, if the food is more than just good, then people will find it. It will be a destination. We have many restaurants here. We have a city hall that we're in right now. I want to know how many people pulled into a parking lot here for City Hall. We do not need more parking. We definitely, positively need more green space. Thank you.
Thank you, T.Z. Next being Jim Carney.
Howdy, Jim Carney, 1.5 Cambridge Street, Salem, Mass. And I'm talking about the order to convert the green space in front of the old Salem jail to parking spaces. Several issues. The agenda description did not comply with Salem's sunshine ordinance, and therefore any vote could be invalidated. Had the agenda included, the description in the agenda, included the mayor's detail provided by some of the detail provided by the mayor in her note to you all, that would have taken care of that. My main issue is the sacrifice of green space. However, it's also an unwarranted intrusion in the affairs of commercial businesses. Where do we stop? Most of the restaurants in Salem have parking problems, and yet we expect them to solve their own parking problems. This from an article in the news a couple days ago. A co-owner with A&B Burgers, which operated the space until the end of August, said parking wasn't so much of an issue with the jail since the 200-space lot is run by the city, is a block away, block and a half away. Access to the lot, however, was the issue. We're on the far side of the building, said co-owner Thomas Holland in a previous interview with the Salem News. If we were on the other side of the building where you could see the restaurant from the city parking lot, no one would have ever said anything about parking. To me, those are their problems. The city shouldn't get involved in those kinds of things. We're going to do that for every restaurant business in Salem. Also, relating to the lack of green space, the best looking view as somebody comes into Salem is that one right now, in my view. And it's definitely a gateway. This is going to be marred by a parking lot. What we have now is a green space and a very nice looking granite building. Next, we're going to have a car park. I also have a procedural issue. Shouldn't the conversion of city-owned property be the subject to a public hearing? Shouldn't the people be given a chance to weigh in on the loss of green space? And this all relates to the agenda description. Also, should this not be done without any specification of costs and revenues? It's as though we were going into a rock without cost specified or an exit strategy. What will the hours be specified for the meters? Is it going to cut off so that the condo owners can have access there after certain hours? And has the council had time to factor all this in? Seems to me that this requires a public hearing. The first benefit mentioned in its value is as a snow emergency parking lot for neighbors, and yet the universal steel parking lot is being sold off despite the return of the Registry of Deeds people and others, and the stated and clear need for a snow emergency parking. The cost of maintaining the existing green space is another justification that some of you have pointed out. Meanwhile, the city is proposing in this very meeting, I understand, that you all accept 2 gifts of land for the park and recs to maintain. We need to examine the efficiency of Salem's operations, maybe a city manager, and do a better job maintaining the city resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. That concludes the public testimony. Any testimony or announcements from city councilors? Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to make an announcement that the Friends of Green Lawn are going to have a tour on Saturday at 10 a.m. at Green Lawn and starting at the Dixon Chapel.
Thank you, Councilor Gerard. Any further? I'd like to make one myself. I think it's fitting that at this time we recognize Councilor Fury as the Dean of the City Council. Councilor Fury, congratulations and well-deserved, and it's your chair now, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If elected.
You'll be there. Okay. Hearings.
Ordered that Comcast to install a conduit on Washington Street.
Anybody wishing to speak in favor?
Yes, good evening. My name is Timothy Broderick. I'm with Comcast, 9 Forbes Road in Woburn. And the petition is for to provide service to 148 Washington Street, a new hotel that's going in down the street. And to do that, we need to extend our cable from an existing manhole on Barton Square 4-inch PVC conduit coming out to Washington Street, and then we're going to head south on Washington Street about 120 feet, and then turn onto the property in order to feed that building and provide service to that building.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in favor? Anybody wishing to speak opposed? Being none, Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the public hearing be closed.
Councilor Famico's motion that the public hearing be closed. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Councilor Famico.
Mr. President, I further move for approval with the condition that you repave over the area, and then also you just let the hotel know during the process that you'll be doing this work.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Councilor Famico. On the motion for approval, no. Councilor Epley, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just offer as a friendly amendment, I would presume this is the case, but no work will take place during the month of October.
Correct.
Thank you, Councilor Epley. Any further comments? Being none. On the motion for approval, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Matter carries.
Thank you very much.
Appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Brady Campasuno Zano to serve as a constable with a term to expire September 25th, 2016.
Councilor Siegel.
Excuse me, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Move received and filed.
Siegel moves that we receive and place on file. All those in favor? All those opposed? Placed on file. Further appointments and reappointments.
The mayor's appointment of Louis Alexander Polanco to serve as a constable with a term to expire on September 4th, 2016.
Councilor Siegel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move received and filed.
Councilor Siegel moves received and placed on file. All those in favor? All those opposed? That is received and placed on file. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to adopt the amortization schedule totaling $1,322,528 to cover the fiscal year 2015 snow and ice deficit per Chapter 10, Section 58 of the Acts of 2015 for fiscal year 2017 and fiscal year 2018 in the amount of $661,264 for each year. Also, an appropriation for $1 million from free cash to cover the remaining deficit when fiscal year 2016 tax rate is set.
Councilor Toriel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Toriel moves suspension of the rules. Any objection? Being none, Councilor Toriel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also move for adoption.
Councilor Toriel moves for adoption. Under discussion, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the bill for the last winter. The state has fortunately come up with a rule that allows us to amortize this snow budget deficit over 3 years, much of it, which we are doing. We also expect to be putting in from free cash. We received some reimbursement from FEMA on storms, and this is over and above what we had already budgeted for snow. Altogether, the bill for snow removal for the last year came in around $4 million, which is rather substantial. And it's not just Salem, it's all across the Commonwealth, especially in the eastern part of the Commonwealth where this kind of problem happens. And so, again, the state's rules, FEMA assistance, and just, some hit to our free cash is the way we have to deal with paying for this, and we have to hope for a nice warm January and February this coming year. And, we've budgeted to try and deal with this as best as possible this coming year, and, we had an extraordinary winter.
Thank you, Councilor Toriel. Councilor Legault.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, a question for the chairman of the Administration and Finance Committee. Very simple. I'm just this indicates then that all of the FEMA money that we have applied for and got approved for has come in. There's no more FEMA money coming in, which is why we're free and clear to do this.
Sure. This is, if you look here on the third page of this, we have FEMA reimbursement of $471,813. That is an estimate of the total that either has come in or will come in. It's not just one single fact check that we get from them. The way that the whole thing worked is, I don't know if you saw when the discussion first came forward, the state applied to have the entire sequence of storms recognized as an event, and the federal government was only willing to recognize that first storm weekend as a unique storm event, and so that's what the reimbursement figure is based on. So that's what all we're getting total from them. Be nice to have a few million.
Thank you, Councilor Torriello. Any further discussion? Being none. We have a motion for approval. On Councilor Torriello's motion for approval, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order for an appropriation of $26,242 from the capital outlay renovation and repair account to be expended for the repair of public water fountains by the Department of Public Services and the Recreation Department.
Councilor Torriello.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Torriello moves suspension of the rules. Any objection? Being none, Councilor Torriello.
Actually, sorry, I didn't have to. I'm moved to refer this to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Councilor Torriello moves this to be referred to Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order for an appropriation totaling $8,758 from Receipts Reserve Golf Course account in the amount of $4,379 to Golf Course Renovation and Repairs account and Receipts Reserve Salem Common in the amount of $4,379 to Recreation Renovation and Repairs account.
Councilor Torriello.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also move that this be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Councilor Torriello moves this to
They're
Committee on
related.
Administration and Finance, co-posted with Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
Held from the last meeting, Mayor submitting an order to name the fire station at 64 Loring Avenue in honor of the late Councilor Joseph A. O'Keefe Sr.
Councilor Torriello.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Torriello moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll read this, I'll read the order and I'll read the letter on this one. I think it's an appropriate tribute, but City of Salem and City Council, September 24th, 2015, ordered the Salem Fire Station at 64 Loring Avenue shall be known as the Joseph A. O'Keefe Sr. Fire Station in recognition of City Councilor Joseph A. O'Keefe Sr.'s lifetime of service to the citizens of Salem and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Most notably his years on the Salem City Council from 1962 to 1974 and again from 2000 to 2015, and School Committee 1975 to 1980, and as the State Fire Marshal from 1977 to 1992. And the order that accompanied, the cover letter that accompanied this for the benefit of everybody, this is a jointly signed letter from the City Council and from the Mayor. Please find attached an order dedicating the Salem Fire Department's South Salem Station at 64 Loring Avenue in honor of the late Councilor Joseph A. O'Keefe Sr. The Joseph A. O'Keefe Sr. Fire Station, as it is designated in this order, houses Engine 5, which has historically been the first apparatus to respond to any call for service in Ward 7, which our late colleague so ably represented for the last 15 years on the City Council. In addition to his distinguished service on the Council, of course, Councilor O'Keefe was a former Massachusetts State Fire Marshal and a longtime advocate and champion for the fire services. There was no dearer friend in public office to the men and women of the fire department and their families than Councilor O'Keefe. This gesture is a tribute to those years of dedication to South Salem, to the city overall, and to our fire department. He will be sorely missed by all, but hopefully this honor will help enshrine his name and memory even more deeply among this generation and future generations of grateful Salem residents. The city will install an appropriate dedicatory plaque at the station and hold a dedication ceremony at a date to be determined. We are submitting this jointly as both City Council and Mayor as a demonstration of our shared support for this measure and of our shared appreciation for our late colleague in public service, Joseph A. O'Keefe Sr. Signed, Mayor Kim Driscoll, Council President Arthur Sargent, and all the rest of us. And just to sum up, I think this is a wonderful and fitting tribute for a man who did so much for this city and a man whose presence we all still miss over there in that corner.
Thank you, Councilor Torriello. Any further discussion? Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, I just want people to know also that I had a conversation with Tom St. Pierre, and Engine 5 isn't the best-looking fire station right now, but by the time for dedication comes along, it will be looking like a fire station fitting for the name of Joseph O'Keefe Sr., so we'll get it fixed up.
Thank you, Councilor Milo. Any further discussion? On the motion by Councilor Torriello, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Matter carries. Unanimous.
Yep.
Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order authorizing the mayor to accept 2 parcels of land within the Witch Hill subdivision on behalf of the City of Salem and the Park and Recreation Commission. Lots identified as 44 Dell Street and 1 Nurse Way.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
On the motion for adoption by roll call vote, under discussion.
Mr. President, I move for suspension of the rules to allow Attorney McCabe to address the council if the council so wishes.
Atkins.
What did I say?
McCabe.
Having trouble with your Georges today.
It's another George.
My apologies, my apologies, Attorney Atkins, absolutely. But I would allow Attorney Atkins to speak to the council if he so chooses and if the body so wishes.
Councilor Epley moves suspension of the rules. Any objection being none? Councilor Atkins, please.
I'll go by any name. This is a result of a decision by the planning board in regard to the subdivision in this area. For those of you who may not know where it is, going up Highland Avenue, there's a road called Mooney Road. Take a right on Mooney Road, there's another right onto Durkin Road, and the development is further out in that area. Part of the decision of the planning board, this was a request for a cluster subdivision, so there's quite a bit of open space that goes with this subdivision, but there were 2 particular parcels that the planning board wished to have designated as parks and donated by the developer. One is immediately adjacent to an existing park called DiBiase Park. Another is located within the subdivision and is like a pocket park. We've been through a process of donating equipment to DiBiase Park and also donating equipment to this pocket park, all of which has been approved by the Park and Recreation Commission. In fact, I appeared before the Park and Recreation Commission, Jim, the night they were concerned about losing some parkland in another area of Salem, so delighted to receive land free of charge. And that's what we're here for now, to get your approval for receipt of these 2 parcels of land.
Thank you, Attorney Atkins. Any questions of Attorney Atkins? Being none, thank you. On the motion for adoption by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes.
Counselor Siegel?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Legault?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes. Thank you. A motion to accept 2 parcels of land within Witch Hill subdivision on behalf of the City of Salem, 44 Dell Street and 1 Nurse Way. 10 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 0 absent. The matter carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further communications from the mayor.
We have a resolution that the City of Salem designate the town of Vaux-sur-Sur, Belgium, to be a sister city.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council resolved a resolution designating, if someone who is French, because I happen to be Irish, could explain to me how to say this without Vaux-sur-Sur. Is that correct?
Vaux-sur-Sur.
Vaux-sur-Sur. As a sister city. Whereas between December 23rd and December 25th, 1944, the Belgian town of Vaux-sur-Sur was subject to some of the most brutal engagements of the Battle of the Bulge, and whereas on December 23rd, 1944, the 8th Tank Battalion of the 4th Armored Division of the U.S. 3rd Army entered the town and village of Catamount, and whereas the liberation of Vaux-sur-Sur and the rest of the best, wow, definitely needed someone who was French in this one, Baston was realized that on December 26, 1944, where the 4th Armored Division broke through the German encirclement of the village of Assonios, also in Vaux-sur-Sur, whereas Brigadier General Albin F. Erzik, son of Salem, commanded the 8th Tank Battalion and helped liberate Vaux-sur-Sur and all the Belgian Ardennes from German occupation, and whereas on September 12, 2009, the town of Vaux-sur-Sur named a square in Catamount in General Erzik's honor, and whereas in 1999, the City of Salem named a park and playground in the city in honor of General Urzek, and whereas the city's name is derived from ancient word for peace, and whereas the sister city relationship between Vauxhall-sur-Ray and Salem will further enshrine the historic friendship between two free and democratic communities, now there be it resolved that the people of Salem do once again extend a hand in alliance across the Atlantic Ocean to the people of Vauxhall-sur-Ray, and that the city of Salem does hereby designate the town of Vauxhall-sur-Ray, Belgium, to be a sister city, and that the city of Salem shall endeavor to create new ways to demonstrate this unique and special relationship, including cultural exchanges, information exchanges, and more.
Thank you, Council McCarthy. Under discussion.
I'm sorry, I probably mispronounced a lot of those names, and I'm sorry for that. As we also have included, here's a letter from the mayor, and the mayor of Vaux-sur-Ray reached out and started a conversation with Mayor Driscoll about this, and this isn't the first time we have a sister city. We have a sister city from Japan, and I think it's a great opening to open up some dialogue between what happened all those years ago and what favorite son of Salem was able to do to help liberate a community and lead us into victory in a major war that we don't have to talk, that because of their actions, we're here where we are today. So I think it's a great idea. It's just be it resolved, so we're going to open up a dialogue, and who knows, maybe there'll be a trip. And so next time you go to Belgium, you can drop in and say that you're from Salem, and that will, open some doors and start a conversation. So I think it's a great idea, and I fully support the resolution.
Thank you, Council McCarthy. Councilor Legault, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you, Mr. President, through you, I'd just like to want to fill in some of the blanks here on General Urzek, who certainly is a favored and a very accomplished son of Salem, part of United States military history in World War II. Other than the fact that we have that tank down there at Memorial Park, and we call that Urzek Park now, General Urzek, as a brigadier general in 1968, was the military commander of Saigon during the Tet Offensive, and was decorated for that also, as the military troops, mostly the military police battalion there, performed very ably. So General Urzek obviously was very accomplished as a younger officer in World War II, but he was also a very accomplished military commander in Vietnam also. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Legault. Councilor Fury.
Mr. President, I had the privilege of attending the ceremony, maybe you did, Mr. President, the ceremony back in 1999 when General Urzek came back to town with the tank. It took a lot of logistics to bring that tank down 128. It's a major landmark to the Memorial Park and named after him, General Urzek. And he brought back memories about playing baseball and down at the old power plant before the power plant was made. So he's a very distinguished military man with a distinguished career, and General Patton was his boss. And I just finished the book, and some of maybe read the book called Killing Patton. He was a very distinguished movies and everything about him, but it took people like General Urzek to make him the very famous general that he is, General Patton. And he came from Salem, so we can all take pride in this relationship, being sister city. We also have a sister city relationship with Ota, Tokyo, Japan, and it's a win-win situation when we have a sister city relationship. So hopefully this will be a positive for adults and students and so on for generations to come. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Fury. Any further discussion? Well, just quickly, every military formation has a point man, and usually that man doesn't live as long as the other men. And the tank formations have a point tank division. General Urzek was the point tank commander. So General Patton led us through Europe, and General Urzek from Salem and Derby Street led General Patton through Europe. So pretty distinguished, so thank you. On the resolution, all those in favor, all those opposed, the ayes have it, the matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
It's an order for no parking Loring Avenue southerly side, northeasterly direction for 40 feet at College Drive, and southwesterly direction at College Drive for 100 feet for a trial period of 90 days starting November 1st, 2015.
Councilor Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption.
On the motion for adoption, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is to enable for safety purposes at the now to be two-way College Drive entrance to Salem State on Loring Avenue. They are, as part of this, there's approximately 5 spaces that are currently used by Horace Mann employees, school employees, that they are going to be relocating to the Pacific Street parking lot to enable them to not have a loss there for the Salem school. This will help the sight lines, the people who are coming in and out of there, and basically the traffic engineers from both Salem and from Salem State, along with the Salem police, all have gone over this and just said that's pretty much the minimum that we can, the minimum standard there. So I don't, it should help with traffic flow and safety in that spot. I don't like giving up spaces for pretty much anything, but this is a worthy thing. We're going to make sure by doing this as a 90-day trial, we will make sure that there are no significant other issues that are caused by it, and if it will turn it into an ordinance should the trial work as expected.
Thank you, Councilor Torrio. Any further discussion? Councilor Siegel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to Councilor Torriel. I guess my first question would be, what's the opening day of the garage?
Don't know the exact opening day of the garage, but it's during the month of November, which is why November 1st is the start date for the order, so they can set the no parking zone up in advance of its opening.
Okay. Thank you for that. My only concern with that is parking's limited as is. If this doesn't go into effect till the 3rd or 4th week of November, now we have a problem with all these empty spaces. Second, I do realize we're doing a 90-day trial period, but the trial period is kind of skewed because if we start in November, you have Thanksgiving, you have winter break, and I just think we should take that into account. The numbers are going to be a lot different at the beginning than at the end. Also, I see a letter from president of the college. I see one from the mayor, but I don't see anything from the police department on this, regarding this. I'm just curious. I believe Lieutenant Brzezinski's away. Is there one? We do have one?
Yep.
She's
It
not in the
came in
package.
late.
Okay, I stand corrected. Bill. Oh, thank you. A little more detail. Okay. I'm just going to take a minute to read this, but my biggest concern, and I'll let somebody else speak, is just starting it too early, because we all know with construction, mid-November could be mid-December. Let's hope it opens when it's going to open, but I just think we're so limited on Lord Ave as is, we got to be careful.
Thank you, Councilor Siegel. Councilor Torrio.
Thanks. Just to address a couple of those concerns, it is counted, there are 5 spaces that are being relocated as a result of this. And again, those spaces are generally used by Horace Mann during the day. Other than that, they're unrestricted spaces. So they're not resident parking spaces that are being removed or anything of the sort. The other thing is that normally when we do these trials, they're usually 60-day trials. We extended that to 90 days because we have a bit of a moving target, but the point is, once that garage is open, College Drive goes into two-way use, and although the traffic patterns will take a while to form, as soon as that garage is open and College Drive is open to use, we immediately have the visibility and safety issue coming up. So we do have although we don't have a date certain in November that it opens, it is certain that we do have a November opening. They are on schedule for that. That's reviewed regularly at the Salem State Neighborhood Advisory Committee meetings. They are on target for an opening in November, and although the exact day they open is not yet determined, but they'll be open before the Thanksgiving break. So we're going through the month of November, the month of December, and before they go off on their Christmas break, and the month of January. So should things be going as anticipated, and again, the garage will be open at that point in time, so this isn't a case of where we're looking to see how the pattern works. We're looking to this is a safety measure that needs to be put in place, period, in order to operate it. The only question mark really It'd be whether that acceleration, deceleration area needs to be even larger, and we would hope that it would not be.
Thank you, Councilor Torriello. Councilor Repley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just offer as a friendly amendment to my colleague from Ward 5, perhaps in the order that we say something to the effect of, for a trial period of 90 days, starting no earlier than November 1st, 2015, but on a date outlined by the head of the traffic division of the Salem Police Department. So in other words, the 90 days would become in effect when Lieutenant Brzezinski says that it becomes into effect.
That's pretty much what we just did with this. This is, you know, this date was in discussions with the mayor, and although Lieutenant Brzezinski out with Captain Ryan, so, you know, this was in conjunction with the Salem Police.
Any further discussion? Just Placido.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just reading the letter, and although the police, Salem Police do support this, I just want to point this out to the members of the council who may not have seen this letter. We support this trial, but there are questions concerning the huge deviation from 20 feet from an intersection to 100 feet. And I don't know if Councilor Turrell could elaborate on that. I'm just reading this, and although they support it, they do have some concerns on that. And I'm just hoping you can maybe elaborate on that a little bit, as I'm not familiar with it.
Sure. Very briefly, because we should probably move along here with this. This is currently, they have a standoff approximately 20 feet from the intersection. They're going to have an increased traffic flow with people coming into College Drive now in both directions. Previously, it was just visibility because College Drive was an exit only. Now it's an exit and entrance with this change. That's the reason. So now we have a 100-foot deceleration area for visibility going into it, and a 40-foot instead of what would have been normally 20 for people going in the opposite direction, going to the east. So that's pretty much the rationale behind the overall change. This is, again, this was between the police and the traffic engineers. So what they're doing, and this is actually also technically in Ward 7, I've kind of picked this one up, but I've been in all those the Salem State and South Salem meetings dealing with this since, you know, we share an association. So that all said, yeah, it's a matter of although we don't have the exact opening date. We know it's in November. We know it's prior to Thanksgiving break. So we have to have this in place in order to be ready for it, because if we don't have that area done, if we don't have that restriction in place on opening day, that's where we start getting into chaos on the street, even more so than we normally have. So that's pretty much what we're looking at as far as putting this in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Turrell. Councilor Legault.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. To you very quickly.
Yes,
I'll support this, but I had not seen this letter until just now, as everybody else. That the police make a very valid point about their concerns about us deviating from traffic code standards here. 90-day trial period is fine, but when the time comes for us to approve this permanently, if we choose to do that, we're going to want to see some very solid data,
Yes.
I think, from the traffic department on this. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none. On the motion for adoption by Councilor Turriell, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We request from the mayor that the city council hold an executive session to review and discuss indicative non-executable prices for electrical supply under the new Salem Power Choice Municipal Electrical Aggregation Program.
Councilor Segal.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for executive session by roll call vote, please.
Councilor Segal moves that we go to executive session by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Turriell?
Yes.
Counselor Segal?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Legault?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Pamico?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes. Thank you. On the motion to hold an executive session to discuss prices for electrical supply, 10 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The matter carries. We move to executive session. The regular agenda. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to authorize the City of Salem per Mass General Law, Chapter 164, Section 134, to aggregate the electrical load in interested electricity consumers within the city.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption.
Council McCarthy moves for adoption. Under discussion.
No real discussion, Mr. President. We took up this matter in executive session, which will come into the light of day after some contracts and signed and whatnot, but it's just, it's for the benefit of the city, the average consumer, try to save them a few dollars a month on their electric bill, and I think it's a great idea, so I would move that we adopt.
Further discussion. Council Legault.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, my colleague from Ward 1 is right on there. It is to the benefit of the Salem consumer, but I also want to point out that it's not forever. We'll have opportunities to do other things down the road if we choose to. So this is not going to be forever and a day. Like anything else, to our Ward 5 colleagues, multiple trial period traffic regulations, we'll have a chance to revisit this down the road.
Thank you, Council Legault. Council Fear. I just want to go.
Please.
I'll just speak quickly because I'm not in favor of this because it signs people up and they have a chance to opt out. That's the main thing. If it was a situation where people were asked to sign up and whoever signed up was part of it, I'd be 100% in favor of it. I just don't like the way we back into it where everybody is signed up and then they have to decide whether they opt out or not. I think a lot of people won't even realize that they're part of this because they don't always read their bills and their notices and everything else. So, but I understand where you guys are coming from. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. On Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Opposed? One opposed? The ayes have it. Matter carries. Councilor McCarthy? You want any immediate reconsideration?
No, we didn't do a road, we didn't do a...
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Mayor's informational page, being none. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2015, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking limited time is hereby amended by adding the following. Beaver Street in front of number 14 Beaver Street for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter.
Thank you, Councilor Gerard. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. This was a resident of Beaver Street that had contacted me, and I had Lieutenant Brzezinski look at the area, and he agrees that a handicap parking space would be appropriate, and I support this and I move for adoption for first passage.
Thank you, Councilor Gerard. On Councilor Gerard's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Toriel.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, year 2015, ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic. Or be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking limited time is hereby amended by adding the following. Cabot Street, easterly side, starting at a point 62 feet north of Fairfield Street and continuing for 20 feet in a northerly direction, handicap parking tow zone. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter.
Thank you, Councilor Toriel. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just, this is a routine handicap space for a resident who needs it.
Okay, on Councilor Toriel's motion for adoption, for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Sargent. Okay, that'd be me.
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. A resolution. Whereas access to reliable, high-speed internet technology is essential to supporting Salem's economic growth and enhancing the lives of its residents, and whereas fiber optic technology is most reliable and efficient way to transmit data to businesses, residents, and would allow Salem to stay competitive in the business, education, science, and technology sectors, and whereas Verizon has focused its expansion of the Fios network in affluent communities surrounding Salem and across Massachusetts, leaving the residents of Salem's neighborhoods and Salem's businesses unable to access the same state-of-the-art services. And whereas this practice has deepened the digital divide and has increased the disparity in access to intellectual capital and economic opportunity, and whereas competition from fiber optic technology could drive down the cost for consumers and boost the speed of other internet connectivity options, and whereas deregulation and monopoly control have led to a significant downgrading in traditional landline service in recent years, and whereas state utility regulators have enabled this problem by surrounding effective service quality regulation under the theory that market competition would produce the best results, and whereas so-called market competition has resulted in less competition, higher prices, and lower quality service, and residents in locations where Fios is not available are forced to pay monopoly prices for an inferior product, and whereas high-speed internet has gone from being a luxury item to a basic necessity in the past 2 decades as Verizon and other telecom giants have continued to abandon their traditional copper network. Therefore, be it resolved that the City of Salem City Council strongly urges the utility regulators of Massachusetts to insist that high-speed internet and cable service be included among providers' basic services, and work to ensure that Salem residents have access to the newest and most effective telecommunication technology available. Under discussion.
Councilor Sargent, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is just a basic need, whereas, as the resolution says, some of the less affluent communities are not being serviced as much as the higher affluent communities. And our children, our businesses, and our people deserve the same services you see advertised on TV every day. If we had trains coming through Salem that were outdated and out of service, and more affluent towns had better trains, we'd be upset about that. If they had better roads than us, we'd be upset about that. But I think it's costing our kids a little bit of education, our businesses some money, and us some time. Us who do it as more of a hobby as time, even city government time. Now, I had an example where I remember when I was a young boy and they advertised programs in living color. I thought we were going to get that in color next week. Little did I know we had a black and white TV. Well, I think this service, they're giving towns like Salem black and white service. They're not giving us color service, and I think we deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on the motion for adoption of the resolution? Oh, thank you, I'm sorry. Councilor Turri, on the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I fully support this. To give a small amount of history of this, and I'll keep this very short. Verizon started building their Fios network back in the latter part of the 2000s and expanded it very rapidly at the time through many towns, including many of our neighboring towns. Roughly about 4 or 5 years ago, while they were in their expansion, they got a lot of pushback from their, and I refer to this stuff because in my day job I run an IT support company, so we work with Fios, we work with Verizon, we work with Comcast, work with these in many other towns around here. So they got a lot of pushback from shareholders several years ago, and as a result they made a public commitment that they would cease building out further cities in Fios because there was a lot of concern about how fast the payback would be on each new customer. And instead, they would concentrate on filling in and finishing their build-out in all the communities they already had gear on the poles and in the ground. And Salem was not one of those cities that they'd be going to build out in, so they decided, no Fios for you, Salem. And it's tremendously disappointing because all the companies, except for Comcast in this town, have decided that wireless is the way to go, and they can charge much higher prices for wireless service, as you all see when you get your cell phone bills and the tiny little data allowances that they are so happy to sell you for the $40, $50, $60 a month. So Fios is wonderful as an alternative, and it's something we should really be pushing hard. And this city and this administration and myself and many others have been pushing very hard. So far we've gotten a lot of pushback, and maybe the best way to try and get this to happen is through resolutions like this that push the state at their level to require this of Verizon as part of their franchising within the state. So I completely support this, and hopefully it'll put a little pressure on them to start again. I think if they spend a fraction of what they spend on all the mailers and all the TV commercials and all the radio ads and all the online ads that you see advertising Fios, if they spent that on actually building it, we might have it one of these days.
Thank you, Councilor Turiel. And I would add that this isn't just Massachusetts. This is something that's going nationwide. And
Yes.
thank you to Mr. Ed Starr from the IBW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, for pushing this in Massachusetts. So, thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Thank you. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, October 8th, 2015, ordered that the regular meetings of the City Council for the month of November and December be held on Thursday, November 12th, 2015, and Thursday, December 3rd, 2015.
Thank you, Councilor Turiel. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Being none. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fury.
Yes, please. Order that the city elections be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2015, for the offices of Council at Large, councilors for wards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and school committee. And there's a list of polling places attached to the resolution also.
Thank you, Councilor Fury. Any further discussion? Being none, on Councilor Fury's motion for adoption by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Turiel?
Yes.
Counselor Siegel?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Legault?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Famiko?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
And Counselor Sargent.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of an election order for municipal election, November 3rd, 2015, 10 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, October 8th, 2015, a resolution. Whereas Dolores Jordan is approaching her 87th year and on occasion of SAFE, Salem Alliance for the Environment, is honoring her leadership, membership, and participation in environmental advocacy, historic preservation advocacy, and community activism, making Salem a better place for all of its people. Whereas Dolores Jordan has served the community well in many ways for many years as an environmental advocate. She has been a board member of SAFE from 2005 to the present, is involved with the Salem Sound Coast Watch, Friends of Salem Woods, Clean Water Action, Health Link, Wenham Lake Watershed Association, Conservation Law Foundation, Greenpeace, MassPERC, Sierra Club, and many others. And whereas Dolores Jordan has also been an historic preservation activist, she was the founder of the Concerned Citizens of Derby Street, which later became Historic Derby Street Neighborhood Association, and she was the leader in the effort to have Derby Street designated the second historic district in Salem in 1974. She was the chair of the Derby Day for the Centennial Celebration for the National Park Service and leader of the Friends of the Salem Maritime, and a local volunteer organization that worked with the Park Service to restore the tower of the Derby Light and then relight the beacon. Whereas she is the recipient of the Hawthorne Historic Preservation Award for her work in preserving the Derby Street neighborhood. She is also a recipient of the commendation of the National Trust for the Historic Preservation. She is the founder and leader of Salem Sets Sail, an education program for use in the National Maritime Park. Whereas, as a community activist and volunteer, she is a member of the Salem Beautification Committee, Peabody Essex Museum, Salem State Explorers, Salem High School Reunion Chair, Boston University class president for 12 years, and an advocate for the Community Preservation Act. She was the chair of the fundraising effort to send youth members of the St. John's Polish Parish in Salem to Rome to meet Pope John Paul II. She also led Salem support for the Greenpeace in its 2010 Roll Against Coal. Whereas Dolores Jordan is being honored for her lifetime of outstanding work in the city, her dedicated interest and devotion has been unsurpassed, and her long and productive lifetime has demonstrated in countless ways her dedication to the welfare of others, and has earned the respect and affection of people from all walks of life and all ages. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Salem, on behalf of its citizens, present Dolores Jordan a suitable copy of this resolution along with the city seal, and be it further resolved that this resolution be entered into the record of these proceedings.
Thank you, Counsel McCarthy. Under discussion.
On to discussion. First of all, let me say I want to thank the city clerk for helping putting this together, and I think the city clerk summed it up best when she sent me a note and said it was all set, it was on my desk, and she said, "This woman's a saint." That's an understatement. She is. She's a terrific lady. I've gotten to know her over a number of years, and she's, as everyone can see, she's dedicated to Salem in community activism and preservation and environmental issues, and you'll always see her at meetings. And if there's anything on the ballot this year that's of interest to Dolores, you will see her in front of the polling place. I mean, she's 87, she has a chair now, but she'll hold a sign for whatever the issue is. If she's behind it, she'll be there on election day if there's something on the ballot that she's in favor of. She's a wonderful lady. It's been my pleasure and honor to know her for the last, I think I met her the first time when my wife was working at the House of Seven Gables some 20 years ago, and I've got to know her really well over the last 10 years. But as you can see from what I read and that people have given me to put into the resolution, she's a wonderful lady, very committed to the city. The SAFE will be honoring her next month in November at the Hawthorne Hotel. Jim McAllister and a whole group of people will be honoring her on her celebration of her 87th year. I hope many more to come, but they felt at this time it was appropriate to do so. So I know the invitation's gone out, it's been on Facebook, but it's an event that will be at the Hawthorne next month. I would encourage everyone to attend. If you haven't met Dolores, she's a lovely lady, and I was very honored and happy to bring in that resolution, and I read that one a little better than I did that one earlier. So, thank you.
Thank you, Counsel McCarthy. Counsel Legault.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, and this being an election year, when people are listening to incumbents and challengers tell everybody how much they love Salem, this is a clear indicator that there are many ways to love Salem, and there are very many ways and varied ways to show that love for Salem. And Dolores Jordan is a clear example of that. And there are many others like her out there in the city. They may not be as active, but I would encourage people to take an example for this, to thank Dolores Jordan when they see her for the many things that she has done. And it's just a clear indication of what a fantastic city we live in.
Thank you, Counsel Legault. Any further discussion? Counsel Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, I don't know if she's already received a city seal, but I would move that she received the, oh, there it is. Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm going to, on behalf of the City Council, I will be presenting it to her at that ceremony at the Hawthorne Hotel next month.
Wonderful.
Well, any further discussion? Being none. On the resolution, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions being none. Committee reports. Councilor Segal.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and the City Council, October 8th, 2015. Committee on Ordinance, License, Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of ordinance amending ordinance relative to the City Council compensation, has considered said matter and would recommend that the attached ordinance be adopted for first passage.
Thank you, Councilor Segal. On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
I don't know if you want me to read the attached ordinance that I think goes with this.
Okay, with waiving the reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just basically something that came in front of us, having to do with city council compensation. The ordinance basically, we got to, well, whoever comes in next January, starting January 1st, will now receive $12,000. It's basically 10% of what the mayor gets. And that's going to be, and with the caveat that the city council president, fortunately not you, because you won't be it next year, gets us to an extra stipend of $500. That's it, basically.
Thank you, Councilor Segal. Any further discussion? Being none. On adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Further committee reports, Councilor Segal.
City of Salem and City Council, October 8th, 2015. The Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of ordinance amending a traffic ordinance relative to resident stickers, Chapter 42, Section 75, parking by adding a list of streets restricted parking to residents only from October 1st, to November 1st, has considered said matter and would recommend that the matter remain in committee.
Thank you, Counsel Segal. On acceptance of the report, all those in favor, all those opposed? The ayes have it. On adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor, all those opposed? The ayes have it, the matter carries. Further committee reports, Counsel Segal.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, October 8th, 2015. The Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of an amending a traffic ordinance relative to the schedule of fines, Chapter 42, Section 17A, during the month of October, has considered said matters and would recommend adoption for first passage.
Thank you, Counsel Segal. On acceptance of the report, all those in favor, all those opposed? The ayes have it. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
This is something we do every October. We raise the fines for out-of-state people or people who live in the city who don't abide by the rules and park where they shouldn't.
Thank you, Counsel Segal. Any further discussion? Being none. On adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it, the matter carries. Further committee reports, Counsel Segal.
Just give me 1 sec, Mr. President. Just want to make sure I got the right one. City of Salem and City Council, October 8th, 2015. The Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, I believe this was co-posted, to whom was referred the matter of an order authorizing the mayor to construct 37 off-street parking spaces adjacent to 50 St. Peter Street, has considered said matter and would recommend that the mayor be authorized to establish and construct up to, but not to exceed, 17 spaces of public off-street parking spaces adjacent to Bridge Street at 50 Peter Street, with an agreement that the lot is landscaped and maintained. At no point shall an exit release onto Sergeant Ayubi Bypass Road. This authorization is pending on approval of the Design Review Board, Salem Redevelopment Authority, the Planning Board, and the Conservation Commission, with a signed commitment/contract with a restaurant. Construction shall not take place until a signed commitment/contract is received. If a signed commitment/contract is not available, authorization for the construction shall become null and void.
Thank you, Counsel Segal. On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Actually, yes, we had a kind of heated debate on this the other night, and we brought it forward tonight to let the parties who weren't present, they wanted to, discuss this and, if possible, make changes or leave it as is. There's a question having to do with parking spaces in itself. I actually wasn't in favor of this. I was outvoted. I wanted to keep the green space. But looking at this and seeing it the way it's written, I actually do have a few problems with it. Although I agreed with it a few nights ago, the mayor came in front of the city council and ordinance, license, and legal and stated this wasn't for a restaurant. This was parking spaces for the general public. And looking at the way we wrote up the ordinance, we pin this to a restaurant. And I think we need to remove that if we want to take the mayor at a word and believe that this is just for the public and for the people parking there in the public, I think we need to remove everything that it says there about this is pending the approval of a restaurant. You're either going to have parking there or you're not. And the parking's it's public parking. So why should it be tied up to a restaurant where that's not what was presented to us? So that's where I stand. I'm not going to vote for this unless we make the changes, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Counsel Segal. Any further discussion? Counsel Legault.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, I really can't quibble with the Ward 3 councilor's point about the sentence in there concerning contract with a restaurant. In all reality, no matter how often somebody has said that it's really not restaurant contingent, obviously that, at a minimum, is a large part of the equation. I am in agreement with, if we're going to put parking there, let's put parking there, restaurant or no restaurant. Because in all reality, I've spoken to some of the residents from the Howard Street area, the Brown Street area, the Williams and Mall Street area, and we all know there's a parking problem down there. Anybody driving down Howard Street can see that, parking on that little skinny sidewalk, and you can barely get a truck down there. In the wintertime, it's even more of a mess. So everything else I like that we've done here, we're limiting the spaces. We're going to make sure that there is green space there. I'm sure the Design Review Board will do a good job on the Planning Board of making sure that the landscaping is done and done properly. I have no problem with removing that that part of the equation at all. I'm really getting tired of all of this parking conversation. I hear representatives from the restaurant saying one thing in one forum, representatives of the old restaurant saying another thing in another forum. Is it about parking? Is it not about parking? The bottom line is, are we going to put parking there or not? If we are, let's do it, restaurant or no restaurant. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Go. Councilor Fumiko, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to make two friendly amendments. The first one is after the 17, cross out the spaces of public because it's repetitive immediately after it. And if everyone else is in agreement, take the suggestions of the other two councilors who spoke before and end it at "and Conservation Commission" with crossing out the last three lines there. And just in general, would like to speak and say that with all of this, the city council can approve the spots, but the actual design of this lot is through our different boards and commissions. Just as though if a project were to go before, we're able to go and speak on it, but we are not voting members for the overall design and the materials used. That's up to our specialists and the different boards and commissions to make decisions on.
Thank you, Councilor Fumiko. We'll entertain discussion on the amendment first, so we can vote on the amendment from this point until we vote on the amendment. So who's in, Councilor Torriello will be next.
Thank you, Mr. President. I second her amendments, but also I'd just say, to this that the goal in this is there's multiple goals here. One goal is to have some public parking that is convenient and accessible for people in the adjacent housing project, in the adjacent streets, and that's a worthy goal. We don't want to turn that space, that open space, I won't refer to it so much as green space because it's pretty much unmaintained other than by the efforts of Flora Tondat, who single-handedly keeps it in some order on her own time and on her own dollar. So, and that's a wonderful effort that she keeps it as good as it is. So the initial proposal that came forward that was noticed in our last council meeting and referred to committee was in order to allow the mayor to establish 37 spaces. We had heard that. In our open meeting, we sent it to committee. We held the committee meeting on it this week. It was discussed, by the committee and modified into the form it is. I think this is and Councilor Fumiko worked to create the compromise that we are looking at right now. And I think she did a wonderful job with it. The goal here, as has been expressed to us and has been stated by some of the people, is we want to maintain the Salem jail reconstruction was a big project. It took something that had been behind barbed wire and turned it into an asset for the community, as opposed to something that would just be demolished and hauled off or stay behind barbed wire. And the building is an amazing example of architecture, an amazing bit of construction. And part of the goal in having a restaurant in there, of which we've had two now, was to keep public access to that space and let people be able to go inside and see it without just being guests of the residents. And so I think it is in our interest to try and have a business, if at all possible, on that first level. It doesn't necessarily have to be a restaurant, but the restaurant is kind of the obvious way to have a place that people go in and out. Given the location of it, parking is an issue to it, or at least the perception of parking, even though it's fairly close. You can't see it from where you park in Church Street lot. It's a fairly difficult walk with a narrow, twisty path that just barely meets accessibility demands. So it's not an easy and obvious place to go for people coming from that downtown, relatively convenient parking. So having some parking in front of it will if we do continue to have a restaurant or any other form of business in there, it will make that more accessible and more friendly to people potentially looking. And it might encourage people just to look for a parking space in front first before seeing and then seeing that they can move on and go to another lot and then walk back. So, I think the amount of spaces here is a reasonable compromise to what was originally asked for. I think it's worthy at this point, and it preserves the goal of maintaining the bulk of that open space as something that hopefully we can turn into more proper park and maybe even memorialize the business that was across the way for so many years and make it a little bit better for residents of the neighborhood and or any business that, or restaurant that may open up in the future. So we'll see how that goes, but I think public access to that building is ultimately something we want to try and encourage.
Thank you, Council Torrio. Now, we have an amendment before us.
I seconded it.
We have to speak on the amendment and vote on the amendment and then move forward on the recommendation from the committee. So any more discussion on the amendment? Okay, on Council Famico's amendment. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The amendment carries. Now we'll move forward on the committee's recommendation. Council Fury and then Council Mile.
Yes, Mr. President, fellow members, I have the pleasure of serving as the council representative to the Salem Renewal Authority. The Salem Renewal Authority is a great board in a number of years, and great people serve on that board. And they made a major impact on the old Salem Police Station to what it is now, the old Salem Police Station. They've made a major impact making the old Salem jail a jewel and treasure for Salem to be talking about it tonight. And I think they're going to do the same thing, and they've recommended for the tearing down of the old district court on Washington Street to make condominiums and retail downstairs. So the Salem Renewal Authority, which I help be part of there, is trying to make the city of Salem, along with the mayor and this city council, make Salem a place to live, to work in, to go to restaurants year-round, 365 days a year, 24/7. And this particular restaurant that hopefully will be going in, or if it does go in, will be a jewel for Salem, for many people to go into and to use. Whatever goes in there, whether it's residential or condominiums or whatever, that space needs to be made into a parking. And I applaud Councilor Famico's efforts to make this possible and make it a reality tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Council Fury. Council Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, I'm not really sure how to do this, but I have an amendment to the amended order that I would suggest. The piece about right after at 50 St. Peter Street, it says with an agreement that the lot is landscaped and maintained, and I think that was put in there with the intent that the agreement would be made with the restaurant? If we could maybe clarify that. And then my other question is, or my other suggestion is maybe we put a cost not to exceed in here. I know the mayor had talked about an $80,000 cost for 37 spaces, but, you know, 17 is a little bit less than half. Maybe we want to put a cost not to exceed 40,000 on it.
Okay, now I'll allow Council Famico just to address the proposed amendment, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the first, I'll go for your second part, then back to the first. With the cost, I spoke with the city engineer earlier. He suggested we still maintain it as 80,000, just due to not having any bids yet and not knowing the exact price. And whereas it would still have to go through the boards and commissions, we're not exactly sure if we'll have 17. We might have 14. We could have 10, and that could vary a bit. And just remind me of your first point once again. If that's okay.
The agreement to...
The agreement with right there, I spoke with the mayor's office, and they said we cannot require that to be from the actual developer because they would be a public spot on public land. So we still have to maintain that. So we can do an agreement from the city, perhaps?
Well, I would give you that Council Milo's amendment that we remove that is justified. So this is a discussion about Council Milo's amendment to remove landscaping from the agreement.
Right.
Going forward, Councilor Gold, then Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I do believe we should remove that, and I must have, maybe I wasn't paying attention the other night. I had proposed that, but I didn't really propose that to be a requirement. I was proposing that the mayor have discussions if we do put this parking lot in, and they do open a restaurant or some sort of a retail business there, as opposed to condos, or somewhere down the road they put in condos there, and we end up giving them spaces, which I would oppose. The mayor can in good faith negotiate with them an agreement, not a requirement, to provide landscaping there. I don't think that's out of the question. I think it's would be a very fair thing, and I don't think it would be a difficult thing for the mayor to do. So pulling this out is the right thing to do, but if this works out as the way we want, I do believe we'll still have the developer maintaining that green space.
Councilor Epley, on Councilor Milo's amendment to remove landscape.
This is on that, Mr. President, and I appreciate that. I will support the amendment, but I want us as a body to keep in mind that all public spaces that we maintain where we have green space, we don't do a good job as a city in maintaining it. And I just want to use this opportunity to say, well, we're not necessarily having an agreement with ourselves here, but we need to do a much better job as a city. If we're putting in the plantings, we maintain them. That we address, for example, ants in the common. It's overrun with ants and so forth. We need to do a much better job in maintaining our green space. That's not in any way, shape, or form to be a degradation at all to our Parks and Rec folks or our DPW. It's scant services and money available for these services. I just want to make sure we have a line item in each one of these projects, whatever it might be, that we are cognizant of the landscaping and maintenance.
Thank you, Councilor Rupley. Councilor Torriell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with Councilor Milo's proposed amendment here and support that. I think that ultimately, from a maintenance standpoint, especially given the way we are heading with this, from a maintenance standpoint, we need to provide for this as a city, and then also landscaping overall would be done in probably conjunction with any other project, and requirements can be imposed as part of the permitting process through the city boards on this as well. So, I'm fine with that amendment as proposed, and ready to move forward on it. And hopefully, hopefully we will be in a place with whatever we preserve for open space there, which will be by far the bulk of it, that we don't have to rely on just the efforts of one person to maintain it.
Thank you, Councilor Torriell. Councilor that's okay. So on Councilor Milo's amendment that we remove landscaping from the agreement, all those in favor? All those opposed?
Opposed.
The ayes have it. The amendment, excuse me, the amendment carries. Now, number 3 amendment. Let's see if we're going to go forward with Councilor Milo's proposed amendment that the cost not exceed $40,000. Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, based on the information from the Ward 2 councilor, I withdraw my amendment.
Thank you, Councilor Milo. That amendment is withdrawn. Now we're moving forward with the discussion on adoption of the recommendation from the committee. Councilor Famico.
Can I just make one more quick amendment? The one that says this authorization is pending, just get rid of the "and" there. So it says is pending approval.
Second.
Just something little, but it matters.
On Councilor Famico's amendment that we get rid of the "and."
For wordsmithing.
All "ands" or just one "and"?
Just the "and."
Just that one "and."
That one?
This authorization is
Pending
pending
approval.
approval.
All those in favor? All those opposed? That amendment carries. Now we'll move forward with discussion on the committee's recommendation. Any further discussion? Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think one of my colleagues summed it up best when he said it's the perception of the parking that will make the restaurant more viable. And I brought it up in committee. I don't think it's the parking. You could put 5 spaces down there. You could put 50 spaces down there. My problem with the whole thing is I want to maintain public access to that building. I think it's a part of Salem's history, and the whole way that project moved forward was to have some sort of public access so that we could experience what that building was. It was a jail. It was a jail. It dated back hundreds of years, and I think that it's interesting in its concept that it's in a restaurant form. But surprisingly enough, I've been thinking about this, and I could have gone either way on this, but I think at this moment right now, as I agree with a lot of the amendments that have been made, and I think that it's a very solid piece of work that's going to be done down there. But for me, it's about access. And I brought it up in committee, and for me, the access, if we're going to do a good faith and create parking as a perception for the restaurant, part of that should have been about pedestrian access too, because I think the bigger problem with anything that goes in there is pedestrian access to and from the surface lots that we already have. And I think that the owner should go back on the developer of the building to figure out some way to fix it. I know they have issues with historic preservation credits and all this other stuff, but that's not on us, that's on them. So I'll have to go back to 6 years ago when we had a bunch of people in here, and I think then I voted no, and I think even though I agree with everything here and I want to maintain public access, but with regard to perception, For me, it would have been the bigger thing would have been if we would look at some way to increase public access to the building and the property itself. So I won't be voting for this tonight.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy. Councilor Fury, would you?
Councilor Starch.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe there should be access to the building also, but I believe that should be on them first. I don't believe they've done everything they can, and let's face it, we can talk about spaces for the public, but this is really about spaces for a business or for the restaurant to come in there. And they haven't done their due diligence and their best to utilize their land for their parking. On the St. Peter side of that building, on the other side, used to be, when it was a jail, probably some 30, 40 spaces, maybe more. There's no spaces there now, it's all green space. When this building was vacant, we had a public parking lot there that we used before the SRA took it over, or well, they had it before a developer took it over. We used it for the senior center. So they could take some of their green space rather than the city's green space for their parking spaces first. If they exhausted all of their resources first, then maybe they could talk about the city space, and I probably still wouldn't support it, but they haven't tried to help themselves first. And as far as access to the building, that lot on the other side gives you a level walkway down the side of the building to their outside area, to their restaurant. Parking on the city's green space puts you up against the wall, and it's a longer distance to get to their restaurant than it would be from their land, down that side walkway. You gotta walk all the way around the wall left or all the way around the wall right. At worst, it's equal access, so I don't see why we have to do that. I think people worked long and hard to get that green space there with all the process we went through for the bypass road. And we've just accepted, Salem prides itself on our open space. We just accepted 2 new pieces of land tonight, one to be part of a park and one to be a small pocket park. And in this case, we're gonna take some away for parking. I don't think it makes sense, and I can't support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Fury. Any further discussion? Councilor Epley, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with the concept of public access. I don't know if it's a restaurant. I don't know if it's a commercial store. I don't know if it's a museum tied to the old jail. But what I do know is that if we do nothing, that the easiest thing for the developer to do is just to turn that into condos. That's all they've got to do. And that's probably what's going to happen if we don't come up with and go along with what is essentially a very commonsensical compromise position that Attorney Famico came up with. I keep saying attorney. Everyone's an attorney tonight. Counselor Famico came up with. There needs to be some parking. That's part of for that part of the building. In order for that to truly work, to have a public access, regardless of what that is, I don't care if it's a restaurant. That's the way you do it. So I'm going to be voting in support.
Any further discussion? Councilor Fury.
For far too long, this site has been an eyesore for generations to the city of Salem. Now it's a jewel and treasure. We have our own congressman living in there, Congressman Seth Moulton living in the old Salem jail. The sheriff's house is all filled up. It's a jewel to the city of Salem. Doctors, dentists, professionals living there 24/7, shopping, dining in the city of Salem. To make it a 24/7, 365-day city of Salem. That's what we want the downtown area is. Most cities and towns like Peabody and Danvers and Peabody and Beverly are doing the same thing. They want to make it. Lynn City Auditorium. They want to make it 24/7, 365 days. That's an example of it. We need parking. If whatever goes in there, I sincerely hope it's a restaurant. That was the death knell to those 2 restaurants. 2 nice restaurants. Didn't have any parking. It wasn't our fault. Maybe that restaurant should have been made in front of the restaurant, near the old Almy's parking lot. But that's ancient history. We're looking at reality now. Whatever goes in there now needs parking. Thank you, Councilor Famico, for doing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Fury. Councilor Seagull, then Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to point one thing out and just add something to what Councilor Epley said. The developer has the city over a barrel here because they're already filed with the planning board to convert this into 3 condominiums. So we either do parking and hope they get a restaurant, and we'll have access, or we don't do this, they turn it to condos, and then there's no access. I didn't vote for it the first time because I wanted the green space, and, you know, to me, it's the developer's fault. They knew this 6 years ago, and shame on the city. We should have put something in there that made it, maybe we give you this deal, you can never turn it into condos, it always has to be some type of access, but we didn't. So now it's in front of us, we either put public parking there, which perception, yes, it's probably for the restaurant, but at least the neighbors can use it when the restaurant closes. I personally don't believe the parking itself is gonna do anything, because you still have to walk all the way around and up the side to come all the way back around, because there's no cut-through from where the parking lot's gonna be to the restaurant. Oh, I stand corrected. Maybe it will do something. But with that said, we either do it there, or we don't, and then we lose the access. So we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place here. So for those reasons, even though I don't agree with it, I'm going to be voting for it because it's the public access, and I'd much rather have a restaurant there than 3 condos. Because you know what, it is nice when you come up the street and you see the tables outside, but limited spots, and it's got to have green space.
Thank you, Councilor Siegel. Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you. I also support this order as amended. The benefit to the restaurant is really secondary to me, because there's no guarantee that that restaurant, you know, if a restaurant goes in there, that it will always be there, that it will always benefit from the parking spaces. This is public money that we're going to spend to do this. It's public money that we're going to spend to maintain it. I think the folks who are going to benefit greatly from this are the ones right across the street in Dalton and Morenci, because I know myself when my father lived there, I had to go park, you know, up at the Church Street lot and walk down. So I think the visitors at Dalton and Morenci are really going to benefit. But the other thing is, there are a lot of, you know, home health aides and healthcare people that go into those buildings, and they have trouble parking. I know because I've talked to the residents down there, and I've talked to some of those healthcare workers. So I think while this may be somewhat of a benefit to the restaurant, the main reason I'm supporting it is because of the benefit to the residents of Salem, and I think primarily over at Dalton and Morenci. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Milo. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm also in support of this. I have constituents on Howard Street Extension that have parking issues, and I think that this would certainly alleviate those issues as well. And in terms of the problems with the restaurants not surviving there, this goes back to something that actually earlier when we were talking about Dolores Jordan, and she reminded me greatly of Jane Jacobs, who was a community activist in New York, and in her life, in her book, In the Death of Life of Great American Cities, she talks about smart design, and she talks about access, and where this property is situated right now and how it's back from the road, it doesn't invite people in, and this could help invite more people to come in and access the area, and it certainly would help the residents in the senior housing.
Thank you, Councilor Gerard. Any further discussion? Being none, on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it, the matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Siegel.
City of Salem, the City Council, October 8th, 2015. The Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of designating George Sansucci, an outside expert appraiser, as a special municipal employee as defined in Mass General Laws, Chapter 268, has considered said matter and would recommend approval by roll call vote.
Adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. On substantive report, I'm sorry. On the substantive report, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
No discussion. This is something that's defined by the Mass General Laws.
Okay, adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Excuse me. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Turiel?
Yes.
Counselor Siegel?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Legault?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes. Excuse me. Thank you. on the matter of a special municipal employee, Dodson Susie, per MGL, Mass General Law, Chapter 268. 10 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Segal.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, October 8th, 2015. The Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of hearing request from Jorge Elias regarding the denial of his limousine license, has considered said matter and would recommend that his limousine license be denied.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
No discussion.
Being none. On adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Matter carries. Communications from city officials. Being none. Petitions.
We have a request from the residents of River Street to hold a block party at the intersection of Beckford Street and Federal Street, it's Beckford Square area, on Sunday, October 11, 2015, from 4 to 7 p.m., with a rain date of Sunday, October 18, 2015.
Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for approval.
On the motion for approval, under discussion.
The Federal Street Group always does a fantastic job with their block parties. They get neighborhood musicians out there, and the kids have sidewalk chalk on the street, and everyone does a potluck. It's always a really great time, so I recommend to anyone in the area or that's present here to stop by and see how they do it.
Thank you, Councilor Famico. On the motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Further petitions.
We have one Tag Day license application.
Councilor Segal.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move refer to Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs.
On the motion to move to committee, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Further petitions.
We have two claims.
Councilor Segal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move referred to Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs.
Motion to move to committee, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Further petitions.
We have two constable bonds.
Councilor Segal.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move referred to Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, and returned approved.
Motion to move to committee, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. The matter carries. Unfinished business.
We have the reappointment of Cheryl Lapointe as city clerk with a term to expire November 9, 2018.
Councilor Segal.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation of Cheryl A. Lapointe by roll call vote.
On the motion for confirmation by roll call vote, under discussion. Councilor Fury first.
Yes, please. How blessed we are, and I use the word blessed, to have Cheryl Lapointe as our city clerk. She is the wind beneath our wings. We have a professional agenda and backup materials each and every meeting, tonight included. Second to none. She is our best friend and our advocate to all of us on the city council. Whether you are a new city councilor or the dean of the city council, she makes us all shine. Her office is the human face of the city of Salem. She puts her heart and soul into everything to make public service what it is today. Even when Councilor Segal mentioned tonight, wondered about some documentation, she was there with it. At the funeral of Councilor O'Keefe, she was there with ribbons and seals and help. She is our guiding angel that makes us all shine. For those who are watching us tonight on cable TV or read it in the Salem News, she is our Academy Award-winning director, like Steven Spielberg, who keeps us honest and professional. Indeed, we are blessed, not lucky, to have Cheryl as our city clerk and Eileen as our assistant city clerk. We love serving in elective office because of Cheryl and Eileen, because they make our jobs labors of love and service because of their example. Thank you, Cheryl, for being our city clerk. If Dolores Jordan is a saint, I believe Cheryl Lapointe is our saint and angel on the city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Fury. Councilor Ripley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say, as finishing up my freshman term, that it's been an absolute pleasure in working with Cheryl in this role. She does her job very professionally, with kindness, and is just the epitome of a great public servant. And you can't ask for anyone better in that role. And I have to also say, on a personal note as well, in helping this year and putting together the opiate abuse forum, that Cheryl went above and beyond. And she does with everything, but, we went to outside meetings, we went to the city of Gloucester, we went to, all these different places. And I know she hates getting this sort of attention, but it's important that the folks at home realize that the only reason why we look even halfway possibly good is because of Cheryl and Eileen. So thank you so much. And also, one last thing I would just also say is that I have no idea if I'm going to be around in 2018 in this role, and so I'm thrilled that I get the chance to at least vote on this tonight.
Thank you, Councilor Ripley. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been said, but it is all true. And where's the camera? Someone get the camera right on Cheryl so she can smile to the people at home. So people know who she is, because she is the face. She is the face in the first door when you come through City Hall on the left, and she handles a lot and she does a lot, and it's all true. And finishing up my fourth term, and she hasn't changed one bit since my freshman term. Since my freshman term, when I was one of the rookies and we sat over there, we were lined up and she had agendas in front of us, and the people that were sitting in these chairs were making fun of us. And so, oh, look at the newbies over there, they're all trying to figure it out. And Cheryl was there from the beginning, and she's been there every day since then for everything. I mean, most recently, just this resolution. I mean, obviously, with the passing of Councilor O'Keefe, she was there for us and did everything she could. And every time I call, I still find it humorous when she actually called me today and she said, "This is Cheryl." I go, "I know." It comes up on my phone, it says Cheryl. But even beyond that, it's like we've talked so many times about, and it's sometimes we talk just about anything, and sometimes she calls me to confide me and stuff. And most recently when Joe called and the news was looking for some comments, she called me up and I told her, "Don't worry, you're doing the right thing, just stay the course." And because they were looking for information with regard to everything, and the family hasn't presented it yet. And Cheryl called me and wanted to know what she should do, and I told her she was doing the right thing. And I think over the years, we've developed that kind of relationship, and I find her to be someone says she makes us all look good, and she does. She does make us all look good, and I think that's a reflection on her because of the good work that she does behind the scenes to make us all ready. I think that if we weren't as organized as we were, and Cheryl didn't help us as much as she did sometimes, especially when you're new at this, we'd probably be on page 1, item 1 at this point right now. But I want to thank Cheryl for her service. I think this is like the second or third time I've been able to do this. So I'm very happy to do it once again. I think she does a wonderful job, and she and Eileen are obviously do a fabulous job down the clerk's office, and I hope that they continue to do that work for us for a long time. So at that point, I would just say, Cheryl, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy. Councilor Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I'm completing my second term right now, this is the second time I've gotten to do this, and it is kind of entertaining to get the call. This is Cheryl, and she's looking to make sure that we still are supporting her to be city clerk, and the answer is always, of course we are, because we'd be fools not to. You do a wonderful job, and you generally keep us on the straight and narrow. And as I would say, again, for the benefit of the people at home, when we look good, it's generally because she's made us look good, and when we look like fools, it's usually because we didn't listen to her. So, I am enthusiastically in support of this term.
Good one, Councilor Turiel. So true. Any further discussion? Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to add one more thing, that I support Cheryl very much because she is our compass. So thank you.
Councilor Siegel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to just say, Cheryl, thank you very much. Couldn't do this job without you. How many times do I call you because I'm missing stuff, or you call me because I went home with the paperwork? I think, running the committee, I think Josh can attest to this. We have so much more work that we're always in there bothering you, bothering Eileen. And we couldn't do it without you, and I really look forward to supporting you, and thanks again for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Siegel. Any further discussion? Oh, Councilor Milo, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, I echo all the comments of my colleagues. Cheryl, it took me a while to figure out what a great resource you were, but I figured that out, and now I have you on speed dial, so I want to thank you very much for everything that you do. And I would also like to add that I think Cheryl has exquisite taste in fashion.
Stole my exactly what I was going to say.
Council Turu, I'll just
I just realized.
I won't repeat.
How do you all do that?
It's all true.
Didn't know.
So many times, growing up with, our den mothers, Cheryl and Eileen, because let's face it, I remember so many times asking for something, do we have this? And having somebody, really Cheryl, just point to my desk and I go 3 or 4 pages in and here's exactly what I was looking for, already there. So, besides being the face of the legislative body, the mayor's office being executive, Cheryl takes care of Cheryl and Eileen do all the duties of the legislative body in the city. And it's not just city council, it's weddings, elections, and so many other things that, that just go underneath the radar. So thank you very much for taking care of us.
Thank you.
I think I know how this vote's gonna go, but we're gonna...
Let's do the roll call anyway.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll again.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes.
Counselor Siegel?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Absolutely.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Legault?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes. Ten councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Siegel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for immediate reconsideration in the hopes it would not prevail.
Okay, on the matter of immediate reconsideration, all those in favor? All those opposed? Opposed. Immediate reconsideration is denied. I believe I have a duty to perform. Time to swear in the city clerk.
She knows it by heart.
This will be the first time I've heard I do since I got married. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon you as city clerk of Salem, according to the best of your ability and understanding, agreeably to the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the ordinances of the city of Salem, so help you God?
I do. And we're not married.
Let me call Kathy.
We did.
Some of our job is difficult. That one was, very nice and not so difficult. Very good. All right. Further unfinished business. Council McCarthy. Oh.
We have
sorry.
second passage of an ordinance amending traffic
Go ahead,
chapter
Michael.
42, section 50B, repeal handicap parking, limited time Salem Street, westerly side, 20 feet south of Dow Street in a southerly direction.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for adoption for second and final passage.
On the motion for adoption for second and final passage, under discussion.
No discussion, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Being none. On the motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it, the matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic chapter 42, section 50B, handicap parking, limited time Dow Street.
Counsel McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for adoption for second and final passage.
On the motion for adoption for second and final passage. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Thank you.
The ayes have it, matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, repeal handicap parking limited time Salem Street, beginning at the entrance of the student drop-off behind Saltonstall School.
Counsel Turiel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
On the motion for adoption for second and final passage, under discussion.
No discussion.
Being none, thank you. On the motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it, the matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking limited time on North Street.
Counsel Gerard, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Counsel Gerard moves for adoption for second and final passage, under discussion.
No discussion.
Being none, thank you. Second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it, the matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending traffic, Chapter 42, Section 88, speed zone regulations, Lee Street.
Counsel Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Counsel Gerard moves adoption for second and final passage. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it, the matter carries. Now, as his first duties as Dean of the Council, Councilor Fury.
I wish to adjourn the city council meeting.
Councilor Fury moves for adjournment. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it, the matter carries. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Councilor Siegel. Okay.